Do you believe you are a good person? Calm, kind, incapable of harming anyone. Perhaps even proud of your empathy, your patience, how much you avoid conflict. But what if I told you that all of this image of kindness, this facade of self-control, might just be an illusion? And worse, a dangerous illusion. There is a part of you that you avoid looking at. A dark, instinctive, brutal side. It's inside you, even if you pretend it's not. Carl Jung called this the shadow. And it's not just a metaphor. It is real. And the more you ignore it, the more control it has over you. Have you ever found yourself exploding over something small, saying something cruel that doesn't align with who you think you are? Have you ever judged someone with disdain, even without knowing why? Have you ever sabotaged your own opportunities, pushed away people who loved you, made decisions that you later couldn't even explain? Then listen closely. Maybe it wasn't you. It was the part of you that you pretend doesn't exist, the one you've pushed into the dark corners of your mind, the one you hide even from yourself. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that is the trap. You think you are the author of your story, but the truth is you are being guided by forces you don't even understand. Your shadow, repressed and neglected, is taking the reins, and when that happens, the outcome can be devastating. This video is not an abstract theory. It is not a sterile philosophical debate. It is a call, a mirror, a direct conversation with you. Who has felt that something inside you escapes your control? Who has felt suffocated by thoughts you dare not confess? Who keeps wondering why you repeat the same mistakes, the same reactions, the same destructive patterns? Today, we will expose this shadow. We will look at it with courage. We will understand how it is born, why it grows, and what happens when you ignore it. And more importantly, how to face it before it's too late. Because listen closely. If you don't confront your shadow, it will find a way to destroy you. And you won't even realize it was her. You will blame the world, people, fate. But the truth is, the enemy has always been within. Are you ready to look into the eyes of your darkest self? To understand what the shadow is and why it has so much power over you, we need to go back to the beginning, not of your adult life, not of your adolescence. We need to go back to childhood, because it is there, in the early years, that your shadow begins to be born. Imagine the following. You are a child full of natural impulses. You cry when you are frustrated. You scream when you are angry. You laugh out loud. You are spontaneous, wild, authentic. But gradually, the adults around you start to prune this behavior. Boys don't cry. Good girls don't scream. Don't speak loudly. Swallow your tears. That's ugly. Behave. And you learn. You learn that certain feelings are unacceptable. You learn that showing anger is wrong, that wanting something with great intensity is selfishness, that thinking differently is being a problem. So what do? You start to hide those parts of yourself. You bury your anger. You pretend you're not envious. You repress desire. You disguise pain with polite smiles. And so, piece by piece, you build a persona, a socially acceptable character, the image of the good boy, the good daughter, the exemplary employee, the loving partner. But while you shape this image, something else is being built in silence, deep within your mind. Something you don't want to see, something you don't want to admit exists. The shadow. For Carl Jung, the shadow is composed of everything you have rejected in yourself, not just your flaws, but also your potentials that have been suffocated, your legitimate anger, your creative ambition, your sexuality, your courage, your aggression, your raw authenticity, everything that didn't fit the mold you were forced to wear. All of this was thrown into the basement of the psyche, and it stayed there, waiting. But here's the crucial point. The shadow doesn't disappear because you ignore it. Quite the opposite. The more you repress, the stronger it becomes. And worse, It starts to manifest behind the curtains, in your uncontrollable impulses, in your exaggerated reactions, in your judgments, in your relationships, in your inner voice that sabotages you. The shadow is like a hungry beast locked away, and you think it's under control, until the rusty door can't hold anymore. Jung understood something that few have the courage to accept. We are not just what we show the world. We are, above all, what we hide from ourselves. The shadow is not just a repository of bad things. It is the most human, real, instinctive part of who you are. Denying it is denying yourself, and that's why it always finds a way to come back. And when it returns, when it finally finds a crack, you don't recognize what you see in the mirror. That's when the behaviors you call mistakes emerge, the words you say and regret, the actions you swear you'll never repeat. But you do, because it's not you who is in control. It's the shadow that is guiding your steps, and you keep calling it destiny. But what if this shadow wasn't just a silent threat? What if it could transform into something much worse? If it had space, context, and encouragement? Next, we will explore how the shadow can turn into pure cruelty, and how this explains why seemingly good people can commit monstrous acts. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Do you believe that there are people who are naturally evil? That some human beings are born inclined to evil, while others are essentially good? This idea is comforting. It creates a separation between you and the monster, between the good citizen and the criminal, between you and the one who crosses all moral lines. But this separation is an illusion, and those who had the courage to destroy it were psychologist Philip Zimbardo, with one of the most controversial experiments in the history of modern psychology, the Stanford Prison Experiment. In 1971, Zimbardo selected ordinary college students with no criminal backgrounds who were psychologically healthy. They were divided into two groups, guards and prisoners. The idea was to simulate a prison. But what happened inside that basement at Stanford University in just 6 days was terrifying. The guards, kind, intelligent, educated young men, began to psychologically abuse the prisoners. They shouted, humiliated, deprived them of sleep, and imposed physical and moral punishments. The prisoners, in turn, began to emotionally collapse. They cried, begged to be released. The experiment, which was supposed to last 2 weeks, had to be interrupted in less than one. What Zimbardo discovered was this: evil is not a personality trait. Evil is a possibility within all of us. And when the right conditions are established, absolute power, anonymity, absence of consequences, the shadow finds space to manifest without masks. Those young men did not become cruel because they were evil people. They became cruel because their shadow was finally allowed to emerge. The persona crumbled, and what remained was the repressed part, wild, brutal, dehumanizing. This is what Zimbardo called the Lucifer Effect, the transformation of the angel into a demon. And this transformation does not happen grandly. It starts with small permissions, a malicious comment, a humiliation disguised as a joke, an abuse of power that you justify with rationalizations. When you do not know your shadow, it finds ways. And these ways can lead you to places you never imagined. Carl Jung and Philip Zimbardo never worked together, but their ideas intersect with a chilling precision. Jung spoke of repression that creates internal monsters. Zimbardo showed what happens when the environment allows those monsters to come out of the cage. Together, they reveal a complete portrait of human evil. It is not out there, it is inside. And it just needs a crack to dominate. But perhaps you are wondering, okay, I understand the concept, but how can I know if my shadow is already acting? How can I perceive the signs before it's too late? In the next part, we will clearly identify the most common symptoms of those being dominated by their shadow without realizing it, and perhaps you will recognize yourself more than you would like.